The funny thing about Mickey 17 is that it's not a great movie. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's flawless or that it secretly belongs in the Hall of Fame of sci fi. It's messy, sometimes it's boring, sometimes it feels like it's trying to juggle too many ideas at once and dropping half of them. And yet, I still think it deserves better than the dismissal it's got. Because for all its flaws, it's still a fascinating, weird little movie that does things most sci fi films don't even bother trying anymore. And that is worth talking about. A lot of people wrote this thing off the second they heard what it was actually about. And who could blame them? Just think about the expectations going in. Bong Joon-Ho, the guy who made Parasite, finally making his big return with Robert Pattinson, set in space. Just that alone makes you think you're about to get the next sci-fi masterpiece, like the spiritual cousin to Blade Runner or Arrival, or something that will end up on a best of the decade list. But then the actual movie, it's about this awkward, expendable guy who keeps dying and getting reprinted, stumbling through a story that feels more tragic comic than epic. Of course, people came out scratching their heads. Of course, the first wave of takes were disappointment. They were expecting something tight and sleek, and what they got was this lopsided, strange, but very human story about what it feels like to be disposable. And that's the thing. It's not that audiences were wrong to feel let down. It's just that the movie they were hoping for was never the movie Bond was actually trying to make. This isn't a clean, futuristic thriller. It's not the polished sci-fi epic that fits neatly into genre boxes. It's Bong Joon-Ho doing what Bond always does, mixing tones until you don't know whether to laugh or cry, throwing in social commentary until it hits a little too close to home. But this is who Bong Joon-Ho is, the guy whose life purpose is to come in and leave you with something that's not comfortable but sticks with you anyways. And yes, I know I sound like I'm on my knees praying to Bong Joon-Ho's glory, so I'll give you one more reason I think this movie deserves a second chance. Robert Pattinson. I really don't think this movie would have survived with anyone else in that role. Pattinson doesn't play Mickey as a noble hero or some tragic martyr. He plays him like a loser, awkward, twitchy, kind of pathetic, but in a way that makes him deeply sympathetic. Every time Mickey comes back after dying, you can see it in Pattinson's face. The panic, the confusion, the desperate plea to be treated like a real person. He's funny at times, but it's that kind of laugh that comes with a sting. Because, yeah, he's pathetic, but you also see yourself in him. Who hasn't felt like that at some point? Like you could be replaced at work, at home, in society, and nobody would actually care. That's what makes this performance the beating heart of this movie. And the way Bond frames him, it's classic Bond. If you've seen Parasite, Snowpiercer, or even The Host, you know he doesn't stick to one lane. He doesn't care if the tone feels uneven. One minute you're laughing at Mickey, bumbling around like an idiot, and the next minute you're horrified by how brutal his expendability really is. That tonal whiplash is jarring, sure, but it's also what makes the movie feel alive. It's messy, but it's Bong Joon-Ho's kind of messy. He lulls you into laughing, and then he turns it around to gut punch you when you least expect it. The core idea here, and the thing that keeps me defending this movie, is what it says about being replaceable. Mickey isn't a sci-fi character, he's a metaphor. He's a worker whose company will replace him tomorrow if they could. He's the soldier sent into hopeless battles because someone higher up decided his life didn't matter. He's every cog in every system that treats human beings as a tool instead of people. And what makes it hit is that Mickey knows this. He knows he's not valued, and he still keeps trying to insist on his humanity. That fight, the fight to matter, even when you're told you don't, is the most human thing about him. And that's why, even when the story stumbles, the theme still lands. The world around him reinforces that. This colony they're building isn't some utopia. It's just another messed up hierarchy, dressed up as a fresh start. You've got Marshall, the dictator, holding everything in place with fear. You've got the colony pretending it's a new beginning, when really it's just the same exploitation in a different setting. Mickey being reprinted over and over again is the clearest sign that this whole system doesn't actually value human life. It values what you can do, not who you are. And if that's not classic Bong Joon-Ho commentary, I don't know what is. But hey, here goes another reason to forgive this movie for its flaws. The ending, the hallucination, the part that stuck with me the most. Mickey sees Marshall coming back even though Marshall's gone, and on the surface, it's just a weird little scare. The villain returning to haunt him, but dig a little deeper and it's brilliant because it's not about Marshall specifically, it's about what he represents. Authoritarianism doesn't just die with one guy. It doesn't vanish because you got rid of the figurehead. It comes back, it regenerates, it finds new faces. And Mickey knows that. Deep down. That's why the hallucination feels so chilling. Because even with Marshall gone, Mickey can't shake the fear that some kind of dictatorship could rise again. And the real kicker is that his girlfriend is the one in charge now. He loves her, she loves him, but power corrupts, systems corrupt, and he knows it. That ending is less about ghosts and more about warnings. Now, I don't want to oversell it. There are plenty of moments in this movie where Bong bites more than he could chew. The pacing drags, especially in the middle. Some subplots feel like they're going somewhere and then just fizzle out. Instead of being clever, they just feel awkward. So yeah, I get why people were frustrated. I was frustrated too. But I will die on this hill because even when it's frustrating, it's still interesting. Even when it's messy, it's still daring. And that's more than I can say for a lot of the safe, empty spectacles we keep getting in sci-fi these days. Think about how many recent movies in this genre have come and gone without leaving even a dent. Shiny visuals, big explosions, zero ideas. Mickey 17, for all its flaws, at least has something on its mind. It's asking questions. It's making you uncomfortable. It's poking at things that actually matter. What does it mean to be human? What happens when we treat people as disposable? How fragile is power? How easy is it for history to repeat itself? Those aren't questions to walk away from and forget the next day. And in a way, it feels like a natural follow-up to Parasite. That movie was about class exploitation in the here and now. This one is about exploitation in the future. Both of them end on the same kind of note, not with hope, but with a warning. In Parasite, the dream of escaping poverty is just a fantasy. In Mickey 17, the dream of a fresh start on a new planet is tainted by the fear that the same old system will just rise again. Bong doesn't give us happily ever afters. He gives us reminders that the cycle doesn't end unless we actually break it. So, where does that leave me? Pretty much here. Mickey 17 is flawed. Sometimes it's even kind of a mess, but it's also fascinating, beautifully shot, brilliantly acted, and packed with ideas that most sci-fi movies wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. It doesn't need to be perfect to be worth defending. And honestly, sometimes the messy movies are the ones that stick with you the most. I'm not saying you're gonna love it, you might even hate it, but if you go in with the right expectations, not looking for the next sci-fi masterpiece, but looking for something weird, ambitious, and deeply flawed in interesting ways, then I think you'll find it worth your time. Because even if it stumbles, it's trying to do something bold. And in a landscape full of movies that feel like they were made by committee, that alone makes it worth defending. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe.